All right, no humor, no songs, no broadcasting live from Site B. This is the OGGM taking a moment at a time to address the rumors and accusations that Vigilantes for Shadowdark was written on AI. So I found a bunch of posts about 20 minutes ago on Facebook from the superheroes group from a guy, I'm not going to mention names, two different individuals who look and write exactly the same. Do I think I know who this is? Maybe. Attacking me and saying that Vigilantes for Shadowdark was slop and that it was written by AI and the entire thing was written by AI. And I even say that the entire thing was written by AI. So let's just address that because that's bullshit. There is AI art in there. I do state throughout the book that AI art is used. I state on the DrivethruRPG page that AI art is used. The only place it says on DrivethruRPG that AI is used was, if we go to the page. So this little blurb here was written using ChatGPT. This right here. I asked it to write a much more clear and concise introduction to the game because nobody else would write it for me. I asked some people to if they would, because the one I wrote I didn't think sounded professional. So yeah, I had it write this, and then I went back through it and changed it to be more appropriate because there was some mistakes in there, and I was like, no, that's not right. So yeah, this here is AI. This art on the cover is not AI. It was painted by my sister, and then I modified it to fit DrivethruRPG and to fit the PDF using AI to make it, you know, because to put something on AI DrivethruRPG, you gotta lines and ink things and stuff like that. So I had to have AI run through the art, but the original painting was done by a living person. Half the art in the game is done by living people. We'll just got a copy of the game up right here. Or I thought I did. So we can address the AI art acquisitions right now. I'm going to open this up with Google Chrome. Okay, so yeah. Is there AI art inside the game? Where is it? That is not AI art. That is not AI art. That is AI art. That is not AI art. That's something I paid for on DrivethruRPG. That is AI art. That is not AI art. That's art by a guy named Scott Isaki. That is AI art. That AI art was done by Miguel for Wretched Vigilantes. That's AI art. That was done by Miguel. That's AI art. That was done by Miguel. That is not AI art. That's stock art that I paid for by Scott Izaki. That is stock art. That is one of the very first AI art pictures ever done of Tag. This originally appeared in the early days of AI art. So that's about 5 years old, but it's a good picture. That is not AI art. That's a photograph that was modified of my sister. That's AI art. That was done by Grim Jin. That's not AI art. That was drawn by a friend of mine. That is AI art. That is not AI art. That is not AI art. That is stock art that I paid for. That is a drawing of Andrew Meisel. That is also a drawing. That's AI art done by Grim Jim. That's AI art done by Grim Jim. That's AI art done by Grim Jim. AI, not AI, stock art. To keep going if you want. AI, bad AI. That's a drawing of a player character of mine. AI, stock art, blah, blah, blah. All right, so that's about halfway through. And you can see that there is a collection of both AI art and hand-drawn art. Now, you want to accuse me of using AI writing to create the product. I can prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that it was written by me. I have all the original copies dating back to the very first version of the game that I wrote in 1997. Plus, of course, all the handwritten notes that I've kept and mailed to myself over the years to create what is Vigilantes of Shadowdark, because Vigilantes of Shadowdark is just a new version of an old game. All right, so in case you've forgotten, you can go to the Red Room and see Wretched Vigilantes, which was the version before this version that I made for the Red Room's role-playing game, Wretched. You can contact Miguel and Sylvia of the Red Room to ask them if they, were aware that I used AI art, and they would say no, that they know it was hand-drawn, because Miguel had to correct a whole bunch of my mistakes. So I assure you that Miguel would be more than happy to tell you ad infinitum how awful it was and how much work he had to do to make it presentable on Wretched. So no, it was not AI writing. No AI was writing. Again, there's a combination of stock art, public domain stock art, and AI art and hand-drawn art in Wretched Vigilantes. When I switched from Wretched Vigilantes to a different company, I went to work, as you know, for Grim Jim. And he had to edit all the products, including including Shadowdark Vigilantes. So you can reach out to Grim Jim if you want, and you can contact him and ask him if the writing was AI created or if it was handwritten. And he will tell you about all the editing and layout and corrections he had to make, to the point where he had to tell me he couldn't work with me anymore because there were so many mistakes. If my mistakes are so bad that I can drive Grim Jim crazy, then you know that I wrote this by hand. But if you doubt me, you can reach out to Grim Jim. You could also reach out to the individual on Fiverr who did a lot of the editing. And that is H. Noss. Here's his contact information right here. You can contact him through Fiverr. He doesn't do editing anymore. I don't think so. He said last time I spoke to him, he said he did a break. But he was my editor for about 6 months. So he can tell you about all the layout and work and proofreading he did, again, proving that there is no AI writing in my product. It was all written by hand. Vigilantes of Shadowdark is all written by hand by me over several years, because it's several different role-playing games that I've written and then rewritten and then rewritten and then rewritten and then rewritten again, dating all the way back to GURPS Super. So you could reach out to Lloyd Blankenship at Steve Jackson Games and talk to him about GURPS Supers and my writing on GURPS Supers and GURPS IST, and see if they will tell you that it's AI art. Because not only are you slandering me by accusing me, Mr. Carrion Eater, of saying it's AI written and the whole slop was written by a computer, you're accusing Grim Jim, H. Noss, and all the other people of slander by saying I didn't say this is AI written and it's AI written. So I will 100% deny the accusations that it is AI written. You can contact DrivethruRPG and ask them if you feel it was written by AI, and why did they let it pass the inspection? Because it clearly says, in regards to AI written product on DrivethruRPG, what they will and will not allow. And if the product was 100% AI written, which it's not, then DrivethruRPG would not have allowed it. But more importantly, who else has a copy? Kelsey Dion of the Arcane Library, because I had to send the Arcane Library a copy before I posted it for the very first time and make sure I didn't violate any of their copyrights. So I'm pretty sure Kelsey Dion and the legal people of the Arcane Library would not have allowed this to gone to press if they even suspected for a second there was anything in it that was written by AI. Now, is it badly edited? Yes, because half of it I had to edit myself. I'm not in the financial position to pay people for that. So yes, there's some editing mistakes in it. I'm sure there's run-on sentences, typos, spelling mistakes. Yeah, which is why, when people ask me, is there a hardback version? I'm like, yeah, there is. But, I don't want you to spend that kind of money, because yeah, there's a lot of issues in it. This was written by me using nothing but online editing programs like Grammarly and Microsoft Word and Google Docs, all of which I still have copies of. I can show you, if you don't believe me, that this was written. The fact that it was handwritten can be proved by H. Noss on Fiverr. The fact that it was written by me 100% can be proved by Grim Jim of Postmortem. The fact that it was written by me and not AI can be proved by Miguel and Sylvia from the Red Room. The fact that it was written by me and not AI can be proved by Kelsey Dion and the legal staff of the Arcane Library, because there's no way they would have allowed it to be published using her name and her product if they even suspected. And the fact that it was handwritten by me can be proved by the people over at DrivethruRPG. So you feel free to contact any of them. The contact information is in the description down below to prove or disprove whether I wrote this. So I'll admit that AI art was used. I'll admit that the blurb on the DrivethruRPG page was edited through AI to make it look better. I'll gladly admit that I paid for and used Grammarly, paid for and used Google Docs, and paid for and use Word to make it look as best as I can and lay it out as best as I can. I paid H. Noss to do a lot of proofreading. So those are individuals who you can contact. And, if you want to slander me and say I'm lying, well, you're also slandering them. So that might be something you want to take care of. I'm not going to argue with you. I've more than proven the point. And in fact, if I can turn the camera on, I'll even show you the original. How do I turn the camera on? Oh, all right. Rare appearance of my face. Look at that. There's the original. All the way back to 1997. Does this look like AI? No, this is hand typed and edited by Julie Lerner Storm in 1997. Face gone. So yeah. Yeah. So again, you are free to reach out to the legal department of the Arcane Library. You are free to reach out to H. Noss over on Fiverr. You are free to reach out to Grim Jim. You are free to reach out to Miguel and Sylvia of the Red Room. You are free to reach out to DrivethruRPG about your accusations that I used AI to create this product. Not that I don't appreciate the money you spent to get the product, and I'll never turn down free heat. And as for any suspicions I have as to who and why, and why so many of them look and sound exactly the same, whatever. You don't like my work? That's fine. It's not for everybody. It's a niche within a niche within a niche. Are there mistakes in it? Of course there are. I'm a disabled, dyslexic, autistic person who, doesn't see the mistakes and doesn't have anybody to fix them, because that's money I don't have. For the next product, part of the Kickstarter will be to pay for artists again. But yeah. So in closing, 100% there is AI art in the product. Vigilantes for Shadowdark does contain AI art. I will not lie about that. I admit it freely in the product. I admit it freely on the website, and I admit it freely in both the beginning of the game and at the very end of the game. Right here, a note regarding AI art. And on the webpage, AI art was used. So the individuals saw the little blurb and went, this entire thing is written by AI. But do you really think, in closing, forget everything I just said for the past 14 minutes. Do you really think ChatGPT would make that many mistakes and then say, oh yeah, here you go? Because no, ChatGPT would not make that many mistakes. And it would look like a ChatGPT written documents. AI written documents have a very specific look to them. and a very specific wording to them. You can see on that little blurb that I made. And it, as opposed to my run-on sentence filled with one-liners and inside jokes and pop culture references, something that the Simon and the Goat talk about when they did the review of my product at the beginning of the month. So yeah, again, to the individuals who are trying to spread the false narrative that I used AI to write Vigilantes for Shadowdark or any of the product I've written ever, that is 100% untrue. And I can prove it beyond a shadow of a doubt. And if you don't believe me, you are free to reach out to any of the individuals mentioned down below. If you want to pick up your own copy of this piece of crap, it's available on DrivethruRPG. Pay what you want. You can toss me a dime. You can toss me a nickel. You can toss me $1. You can pay for it, get it for free. And if you want to get the POD, which I don't think you should because there are mistakes in it, and I'm not going to charge somebody $20 for a hardback of something I know that had mistakes in it. I'm happy getting $1 or $2 because this was an experiment. And obviously, since it's a copper sailor, I think the experiment is a success. I said on day one that if this sold, I'd remake it and try and kickstart it. And if it didn't sell, then I would know there's not an audience. So obviously there is an audience. People have enjoyed it. People have said great things about it. People have said it's slop, and it's fine. If you say it's slop, go ahead. Want to get a free copy of it? It's pay what you want. Get a free copy. Make up your own mind. But you want to accuse me of things? That's fine. I'm an adult. I'm able to defend myself. You want to accuse the people that are associated with this product, like the Arcane Library and the Red Room, then that's another thing. So again, I will provide links to all the individuals who had a part in the creation of this in the description down below. You are free to reach out to them to confirm or deny if I use AI to write this. AI was not in any way, shape, or form used to write this. I didn't even know you could use AI to write it until the very end. And I assure you, if I had used AI to write Vigilantes for Shadowdark, it would look better. And Kelsey Dion would not have allowed me to use her product's name because she has a copy. And DrivethruRPG would have said, hey, warning, this has an AI written product, because I have to admit to DrivethruRPG that I used AI before I can post it. So that's something that DrivethruRPG has to go through. And they would not have allowed it to be presented the way it's presented if I used AI to write it. So yes, about 30% of the art is AI. No, none of the writing is AI. That's all me, baby. And I will again provide the links down below to prove it. Now, to the individuals who are accusing me of using AI and the other things, you can kindly go fudge yourself. Have a happy holidays. Talk to y'all later. See you.